18-year-old Kenton Felmlee didn't know Laila Anderson, but one decision that he made had a bigger impact on her and her family's life than anyone could have ever imagined. This is the story about how Kenton saved Laila's life. On the day that Laila and her family's life was turned upside down, Laila was being driven to school. It was a normal day and she was looking forward to seeing her friends, but when she arrived, she wasn't her normal, bubbly, excited self. She was confused, unable to focus, unable to speak clearly, and she couldn't even stand up. Something was seriously wrong, and her parents rushed her to hospital. She was reassured by the doctors there that it was just dehydration, and she'd be absolutely fine if she kept her fluids up. However, as the episodes continued and the doctors ran some more tests, it became clear that something more sinister was at play. The doctors didn't know what was wrong, but it wasn't looking good. Whatever it was affecting her brain, and nobody could work out why. They took tissue from her brain to study, and just about every specialist from every wing of the hospital went through the revolving door of Laila's ward, all testing their theories. And with each failed attempt at explaining Laila's condition, any hope for Laila to get better was being worn away. Laila was given multiple diagnoses that didn't quite fit, until the doctors reached for outside help. Julia was part of the consultation service and would help other doctors with a fresh perspective anytime they were struggling to understand a case. Julia spent days combing through hundreds of pages of academic research papers, searching for clues, each paper becoming a piece of the puzzle to understanding the strange results that were showing up in Laila's tests. Julia landed on a diagnosis 16 months after Laila had first shown up in the emergency room.
Primary isolated central nervous system hemophagocytic lymphohistiocytosis.
It's a really, really hard diagnosis to me. It's a very unusual, it's very rare. It's not going to show up on most thought process of what could be going on.
When Laila was diagnosed, there had only been 15 reported cases in the entire world. Laila was 10 years old when she got the diagnosis.
To get an answer is not the answer you wanted to hear, but it was an answer.
She was told she needs chemotherapy, she wouldn't look anything like she looked before, and she would need a bone marrow transplant. But nobody in Laila's family was an appropriate match, so they turned to the organization Be The Match to find her lifeline.
I got a call and they told us that we had 3 possible matches. A few weeks later, and I got the call saying that one person is a perfect match. And they not only agreed to save Laila's life, but they said they were excited in capital letters.
I'm Kenton Felmlee. I'm from Lawrence. I'm 19 and I'm currently studying at KU.
Kenton joined the bone marrow registry a few months after turning 18, when he was inspired by his high school history teacher talking about her experience being a donor. And just a few months after joining the registry, he was told that he could be a potential match.
I got a call that I was a preliminary match about 3 months after I had joined the registry, and I started talking to her. She told me that I was the best match for a 10-year-old girl. I had to pull over because I couldn't stop crying. It was one of the best days of my life.
And when he learned more about Laila and her condition, he couldn't help but draw the connection to someone close to him.
When I was a kid, my dad was sick a lot of the time. There were times where I'd come to my mom and say, "Why is Dad so sick?" As I've grown up over the years, I've realized that he wants nothing more than to have a normal life and to spend time with his kids. But because of his condition, he can't. He has CVID, which is common variable immunodeficiency disorder.
Growing up, seeing his dad suffer and unable to spend time with him and his brothers, Kenton wanted to do anything in his power to help those in need. This desire pulled him towards the medical field, where he'd just begun studying at the University of Kansas to become a doctor. And this desire to help others connected him to a little family a whole state away that was incredibly grateful for his compassion.
What can I possibly say to somebody that saved your daughter's life? That's all I could do was just say thank you over and over.
The donation was successful, but Laila's family weren't able to breathe freely just yet.
Her testing has been 90% perfect. And there was one test in there that was questionable.
I asked Dr. Benarski, when do I get to take a breath? And he said,
At 1 year, you can take a baby breath. And at year 2, you can take a good one.
1 year passed and they began making plans to meet up in person at an event held by Be The Match.
Even before we knew we were going to meet, I wrote letters to Laila. Ones I didn't know if I was going to send or not. She would pop into my head, and I'd wonder, how's she doing? Is she doing okay?
Please welcome Kenton to the stage. Laila, meet your donor.
Now, 4 years later, Laila and Kenton call each other brother and sister. They're best friends. And Laila's looking and feeling a whole lot more like her old self.
She's got all brand new immune system from the donor, right? So her immune system, which was defective before, has been completely replaced by a brand new immune system that will function completely normally and won't trigger this HLH.
I just want to say thank you for the second chance at life. I don't know where I'd be today without you. Thank you.